Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tatiana Mahoney, and the Director of Family and Community Engagement. And with me is Lourdes Heredia,
Hello.
the FACE Assistant. And we are having our Title I meeting that has to do with parent engagement. Um, before we start, this is a meeting where parents will collaborate. So I'd like to share some meeting norms. Um, First is assume the best intentions. One microphone at a time. That means only one person speak at a time. Raise your hand to speak. Minimize side talk. So stay on the group. If you have anybody around that is going to be talking, just to make sure that you have your microphone silenced. Be present and be solution oriented. In terms of our controls, we'll be using the chat a lot. So if you have any thoughts, then please feel free to write them down on the chat if you have any questions or if you have something that really speaks out to you so that you don't forget. All right. So Title I, again, is the federal funds that come as a supplement to the school. And 99% goes to the kids directly, but 1% goes to parents. And so we're going to discuss how we're going to use those funds that go to parents. It's very clear as to how the funds will be used for students, but in terms of the use, parents get to decide how those funds will be used, and that's why we encourage parents to be part of the Title I committee to decide how those funds are going to be used. We already had a meeting for our families in Spanish yesterday, and so this will be a meeting for families in English. And the reason we're having it right now on Zoom is because if you recall, we did a survey, and most families voted for a Zoom meeting over in person. And most also voted for late. This would not be our only meeting. We'll have other meetings to follow up as it's a process. So in terms of spending, how this money that is going to come to us, it needs to be used in a certain way. One is to pay experts on special topics that parents would like to learn about. Payment for staff who will help plan or participate in any Title I activities outside of their working hours. For example, teachers, if they have to teach a subject after hours, then we'll have to pay them a stipend. Activity costs, including materials, transportation, childcare, and refreshments. So, for example, if in the past families had, even before the pandemic, a wellness team, and that wellness team wanted to include, aside from a series of activities on nutrition and they also wanted Zumba, for example. So that included the cost of the teachers who taught nutrition, plus the teachers who taught Zumba, plus the stipend for the person who took care of the children, and refreshments, and the cost also of the security guard and the person opening and closing the doors of the building. So so those are things to keep in mind in terms of activities. Right now, the Title I committee from last year decided to focus on literacy. And so the Family Council took that charge and have a campaign called Readers Are Leaders. So this could go along with Title I, as if there is a need to buy materials such as books, then that will go along with the spending, and I'll explain more about that. The other thing is tours aligned to academic content, or to add to the experiences, it's just field trips to museums or science centers that also could be used for Title I. Again, this is only a supplemental amount that goes to parents. So the question that you should ask yourself in terms of how could you decide on the how to use these funds will be, how will the workshop or activity that you choose is going to help to support your child's learning? Because all Title I is aligned to child's learning. So if it's not aligned, so for example, a trip to Six Flags is not aligned to child's learning. Yes, it could make your child happy. You'll be happy. Everybody feels better emotionally, but it really does not increase literacy rates or math rates. So cannot be measured that that will help you. So what the measure of how to choose what you decide will be if it's reasonable, is if it's acceptable, and if it's necessary. Because again, this funding goes for the whole school, 5 through 12. So it has to help the whole parents for 5 to 12, not just a few who decide on a few things. So how do you go about it? So we recommend to start from if what are your needs, and to look at if there are any problems, because that's the best way to realize if you have any need. If everything is going great, you may not need anything. But if you see a problem, then you can look into uh, what are the lagging skills or thinking skills that your child may have that can lead to a challenging behavior, and I can explain that later on. Because if your child has great thinking skills, then he will be doing well in school. Um, so just to dig deeper into that, the lagging skills, the thinking skills, is divided into categories. So, categories such as communication and language, regulation of emotions, self control, flexibility and adaptability, attention and memory, and just cognitive skills. Uh, so let's go to communication and language. And I just encourage you to, if something resonates with you as I go about it, remember those are things that you're looking to see if any of these things your child is lacking in skills, any skill your child is lacking, and that you would like to support your child, but don't know how, and would like to have strategies that an expert could come and teach you, so that you can help out. All right, so communication and language, we have understanding what others are saying, following the flow of conversations, quickly understanding people who are talking, saying what they're thinking or what they need, saying what's bothering them, saying what they're feeling, and quickly finding the words they need. And so think about if any of those things are things that your child would like to have, and you could help him or her grow in this skill. Another one is regulation of emotions and self control. So that would be handling feelings when angry or frustrated, handling feelings when annoyed, handling feelings when nervous, worried, or anxious, handling feelings when disappointed or sad, thinking about what might happen before doing something, pausing before they respond, waiting for something they want, being energetic at the right time or getting energy up when expected to, being calm at the right time or calming down when expected to. And again, for those families who just came in, we're looking at what is it that your child will need that you will love to help him more with, and will love to have some tools so that we can get some experts to help you uh, uh, help your child. So the other one is cognitive flexibility skills. So that will be handling changing from one activity to another, understanding that things can be kind of rather than all one way or all the other way. So seeing shades of gray rather than only black and white. Imagining different ways things could happen in the future, handling changes to a routine or rule, handling new situations or unclear answers, like I don't know, changing their mind if offer a different idea or solution, understanding why a plan may need to change, not taking things too personally, exaggerating or thinking things are worse than what they are. The other one is attention and memory skills. Oops, had a typo there. Sticking with things that need a lot of attention. So doing things in order, keeping track of time, thinking about more than one thing at a time, staying focused during activities, ignoring distractions, thinking of more than one solution to a problem. Social thinking skills. Social thinking skills are paying attention to what others are saying and doing, understanding what other people mean from the way they behave or talk, starting and having conversations with others, getting other people's attention in positive ways, understanding how their behavior makes other people feel, understanding what other people think of them and their behavior, understanding other people's points of view. Okay, so before I continue again, oops, I just want to pause there. And again, for those families who just came in, Title I money could go to workshops to parents to help your child develop this type of skills that ultimately is going to help your child succeed academically. So if your child is lagging in thinking skills, or you will see that that they will benefit because of the pandemic. Many of our kids have suffered a setback in thinking skills. So if you would like to get some sort of workshops that help with those developing these skills, we have possible workshops and we do have partnerships to help you uh, get those tools. Now, the other possibility would be, aside from workshops, would be to get uh, activities that had to do with museums, visits to museums, or that will align to academic learning. Also, academic workshops that have to do right now. The Family Council, for example, is doing the Readers Are Leaders campaign, and so it will be towards buying books to help children. Uh, like, for example, right now we have an initiative to do a book club. It's called 13 Things Strong Kids Do by Amy Morin. And so if you wanted to use some money for that, that could go into that. Another way, aside from workshops, is because the emphasis of the Family Council is on literacy, if you wanted to invite authors to come to the school to talk to the children, if they're reading a certain book and they would like to meet an author that happens to live in New York City, well, those authors charge money for it, and that will go into part of Title I money can go to that. So those are some things that you can think of using the money. And right now, I'm giving you some options in terms of if you were to decide to do workshops on these thinking skills. Now, if, for example, you think, well, my child has a special education services, and I'm not sure if my child has dyslexia, and I would like to have an expert to talk about dyslexia. That could be too. We have in the past also had an expert to talk about services for autistic children, and if there were enough families who are in the same predicament and would like to know how to get access to funding for many things like swim lessons to special after school programs or even summer sessions, and where the government pays for all of it, then that could be another way, and we have used that in the past in that regard. So again, these are some possible workshops that we could offer. And understanding my preteen, that's 10 to 14-year-olds, understanding my teenager, uh, and 14 and up, positive discipline, understanding the human brain and development, how to share power. Circle of security, it's another one. It's 8 sessions, and we have done it in the past. We do know that they charge $800. We have mental health workshops, prevents tips of tools how to prevent substance use, risk of marijuana use. Then we have social development workshops on how to avoid bullying, how to teach tolerance and empathy, and many more, but just to give you an idea. So before I look for, so this is the part where you take over this portion of the workshop where we would like to find out from those themes that we talked about it, what are you interested in? Are you interested in taking workshops? Are you interested in, hiring a special experts, like authors to come in, and if you are deciding to do workshops, some of the parents decided from Spanish speakers, this is open to all families. So please, if you wanted to think about the kind of skills you want to focus, you can start thinking about if you want to focus on academics, if you want to focus on social emotional, and or if you want to focus on field trips, if you want to focus on, what is it that you want? So for this portion, if you can please raise your hand and let us know what your interests are.
Tatiana, I'm on the phone.
Yes. Okay,
So
so
I can't raise my hand. I'm sorry.
no, not a problem. So tell me what's your name? So because we need to keep
Okay, so it's Linda Marin. It is
oh yeah,
Aiden's
Linda.
mom.
Okay, great,
Yes.
Linda.
How are you?
All right, great. So Linda, if you wanna go ahead, if you have any particular interest.
Well, the interest was like basically in the past, you guys have done the workshops, and I actually took advantage of some of the services that you guys offered in the years previous, where I just feel that it was very helpful for my child and other children, because in him having taken, I believe it was a gentleman by the name of Daniel, and I forgot which organization he was with.
Inwood Community
where
Services.
they gave like one-on-one sessions, obviously with the parents' permission, right? In some cases, right?
Right.
To talk to your child. So your child has that capability to speak to someone other than you in the event that maybe there's something they're not comfortable speaking to the parent with. And some parents have to be okay with that. Like,
right.
It just was really a great benefit. And I'm speaking like on behalf of everyone as a whole, not just my child. I just know what benefit it did for my son, as far as communication, with his teachers and fellow students, and things like not allowing himself to be bullied, because it's not really prevalent at Inwood. However, there are some situations that could occur, and just it fostered how he should deal with those situations. I just think that those workshops in the past have helped, and I'm not sure, because my child is a senior. I don't know what workshops are available going forward,
right.
to transition them out into, the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking about overall. He's been in the school since 7th grade.
Great.
So for me, like I said, my experience with Inwood has been amazing. It's been great. And I feel like you guys do provide a lot of services. So I just feel those workshops were beneficial.
Well, thank you so much, Linda, for that. Yes, so what she's talking about is our partnership with Inwood Community Services. And the one thing that we have with them is that they have, it's a two-way workshops where they get the workshops for the parents, but they also do the workshops for the kids. And or they can just do it with the kids depending on how it goes. But yeah, so we can put in Lourdes, if you can put down Inwood Community Service.
Are you able to see my screen? Because I already wrote it.
Yes.
Okay.
We can't see the the Post-its, but
All right, let me see. Maybe it's my internet. Give me 1 second.
but in any case, Lourdes has a whiteboard and she's taking notes. So for those who you can follow up, I have. So if you can put Inwood Community Services, and they're definitely willing to. They are one of our partners, so they're willing to do that. Allison, you have your hand raised. You can go ahead, Allison.
While we wait for Allison, Ms. Matthews has a question in the chat, and she's asking, is it a workshop that for the Inwood Community Services? Is it like a mentorship program?
It's like
or
a,
is it
it's
a
like
parent-child workshop series?
it's two ways. They have different ones. So it's like teaching them how to be a leader. So it's kind of like if you were a big brother, how would you behave? You know, so it just shows them a lot of skills on how to be looking out for others, not just thinking about
And
self.
they did speak with me first as the parent to find out if I needed services on how to approach conversations with my child. In my case, my child is open with me, but again, there are things that, you know, maybe a boy doesn't want to tell his mom and maybe doesn't feel comfortable discussing with dad just yet, you know. So the gentleman that actually spoke to my son, the counselor, was extremely helpful. And to be, you know, fair to the parent, they are private with the matters that they discuss with the child. So this is something that parents have to really be on board with. I, as a parent, am on board with that because I feel that my child needs that.
Great. So
Thank
the
you.
question is, thank you for elaborating that, Linda. And it all has to do with once parents decide also as part of the Title I committee, you also decide how often you would like those services. And I'll connect with Inwood Community Services and say, well, if this is what we're interested in, can you tailor something to our families? And so based on that, then it could be like on a weekly basis. Sometimes it's like a series. Sometimes it's just they space it out throughout the school year with the kid. So it has different ways. And also our director of school culture at a would also work it out with the students. And I just want to point out that this is mostly for use for our high school students, although some of our middle school students can also sometimes
Benefit.
7th and 8th grade, but know that
They gear towards high school.
it is available for all. Yeah, they have different age groups, so it depends on what you would like to do. Would you like to, if you tell me I want to focus on helping my kid emotionally, regulations, like my kid is very anxious, how can I help him? Or you know, what will happen before, you know, thinking about what might happen before doing something, or just like Linda said, just having certain topics like that I may not feel comfortable about discussing. And those topics could be anything from like talking about sex, talking about substance use, talking about handling difficult conversations. So again, those are things that can be in union with the family, because again, this money goes also for the parents, right? So it's mostly all if the student is getting only one way but the parent doesn't get it, then you don't know, it's not as effective as if we all work together towards that. Okay, Allison, not sure. Okay,
Feel
so
free to unmute yourselves. You guys have some really good ideas in the chat. Self-esteem and social skill building, that's a good one.
okay, for some reason, Lourdes, I'm not able to see your
No?
nothing.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Okay. I'll try.
And I'm not sure if you can also do like a poll.
Can you see it now?
I can see the whiteboard, but I don't see any notes.
Okay, I'm gonna add it now because I just closed the other one and reopened the new one.
Okay, there you go. Now we got.
So we have Inwood Community Services, we have how to have difficult conversations with your children. We also have something dad focused, like where a dad can be involved, like more dad geared in the chat. I'm just taking ideas that everyone has been putting in the chat. Please feel free to unmute
Making new
yourself.
friends. Making new friends. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That goes with adaptability skills.
We have some stuff about self-esteem and socialization.
So social skills.
Excuse me, so should I write it in or?
Either, no, you can go ahead.
I would love the support. Thank you.
Okay. What about something that combines art with social skill building, mindfulness,
Oh, I love it.
community? So you know how like sometimes there's like art therapy where they work things out through doing artwork.
So I just want to, sorry to stop you there. So with Inwood Community Service, just to clarify, with Inwood Community Service, because it's one of our partners, our
Mhm.
kids are getting stuff already. But again, this Title I funding is only for parent engagement. So it's not like the kids will get it, it's the parents will get it. The workshops
Okay.
are for
Yeah,
parents.
more parent focused, like what do
Parent
you want
focused.
to learn
So-
more about to better support your children?
Right,
So
so-
for example, if nutrition, maybe we could have a workshop about how to make healthier meals, how to read a nutritional chart on the back of your grocery containers, things of that nature. How to understand a child with anxiety or dyslexia or autism, things of that nature.
So for example, if we're in community service, it could be tricky because we already have that partnership, so the kids are getting it. So it's if we're getting some of the things with then we are piggybacking with what they're doing already with our kids, right? So it's a two-way street. Now, if we were doing our therapy, then it would be like our therapy for you.
Okay.
Because at this time we don't have anything like our therapy for the kids, and the funds wouldn't go for the kids in that way. So
Okay.
And it's not like a bad idea, the art therapy.
It's great.
Sorry, Tatiana, it's a great one.
It's a great idea.
It's a way for you to kind of put mindfulness, and when mom and dad are happy, so is child, right? So how can we take care of ourselves to better support our children?
So that's a great thing. That's something that if that's what you would like, we can do that. And that's an idea. And now I see somebody else maybe invite some speakers. So again, anything the speakers have to do, going back to those speakers have to help your child. It will result in your child improving at the school. So whatever you choose, you have to make sure that it will lead to your child be doing well at school, right? So if the art therapy is going to help you to help your child with more mindfulness, and we can track that your children are more thoughtful and all that, and are more focused, then we'll have to look at something that not only will be our therapy, but also we will have to look at an expert that has to do more on attention and memory skills that will lead to for the kids to be more thinking more about more than one thing at a time, staying focused during activities, something that we can measure that actually that art therapy was able to help your child staying focused or ignore distractions or thinking more than one solution to the problem. So that's what we need to make sure that whatever you're getting as a parent is going to help your child succeed in some way with some sort of skill. Now, for example, if it is speakers, great. So let's have some speakers. And the good news with speakers is that it can also, if it is related to speakers, like I was saying, authors, you're invited to be part of that, but actually the ones who benefit the most will be the kids, because the kids will be also meeting the authors. It's not just the parents, but the kids will be benefiting from meeting those authors. So that's how it goes. That will help the kids, like a 2-for-1 type of thing. Communication between child and parents, love it. So yes, and actually we had one parent, I'm not sure she's here with us, who was talking to us about circle of security. That's a great parenting series that talks about how do you really talk so your kids are listening, and listening so the kids are talking. How do you even not even talk, but understand their body language, understand what they're really saying without saying it. And it helps you also to share power, and so that's a great series. um and and
And you
that,
guys are
yes.
more than welcome to mute yourselves as well. Unmute yourself, excuse me. If you have any additional ideas, I'm seeing some stuff going on in the chat, so I just definitely helping, parenting.
Helping parents become better parents. So yes, so again, we have different ways, different, like, how do you understand your child's development? If you understand how your child is developing mentally, socially, so then you will understand what your child's are needing at certain times. So that can be a whole series on understanding your preteen, or understanding your teenager, or even the development of the brain. So those are workshops that we could offer.
How about, with all due respect, sorry to interrupt, a workshop where, for parents, which will actually benefit the children, discussing things of inclusion. And when I say this, it's because, we have a lot of differences throughout school as a whole. It's not only high school, and it teaches a way for the parents, even if they're not familiar. So even if it's not their child going through something, how to teach their child to kind of understand others. For example, in my home, I do teach, to my son, to each his own, right? But by the same token, that can go but so far, because maybe like a workshop in acceptance, because
Ooh.
I know my parents were old school. So they didn't talk to me about certain things. I have to have certain conversations with my son now, because he has to be aware that there are many different people in this world. And we're not only talking about race, we're talking about gender and sexuality. And I think that a lot of parents need something like that so that they can understand, because even though maybe I'm an understanding parent, I know a lot of parents that are not okay and are not understanding, and not that they're closed-minded, but that they're old school. So it's very hard for them to accept what's happening now. If there's something to that effect, because even for me, there are certain things that are hard for me to digest, but I do it because as a human being, we all need to accept one another. And, to pass that down to your children, you have to be very mindful. So maybe a workshop that would allow parents to kind of comprehend. I don't even know how to explain it without, I don't ever want to be like disrespectful to anyone, So I just understand that some people are not open to all things
Yeah,
that occur
that
as a
that's a good
whole.
that's a good point, Linda, and that opens the door. Social media open also a lot of
Mhm.
doors that before were not open, right? So
Exactly.
parents are now that didn't have to talk about certain things,
No, yeah,
now are forced to, and they don't even know how to broach that subject, even to have to do about your own values. What is it that I value?
exactly.
Right? So, and
Right.
as parents, you have the right to share your values with your child, right? Whatever those values may be. And also instruct of, like, okay, even though these are our values, understanding that the world works in a different way, or in a way that you
Exactly.
have to still be mindful of one another, right? And
Exactly. Like,
we're building leaders for, for a reason. So we want to make sure that the world is not just our little bubble. The world
right.
is
And no
big.
disrespect to like people's religions or anything like that, but sometimes we just have to like to see things from different perspectives, because perspective is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a workshop in giving the tools to the parents on, okay, you may not agree with this, but this is what your child is experiencing in school around them. So you have to still teach them to be accepting, even though you may not be. And that's the conversations that need to be had, because I can tell you right now that my son has had me conversate with lots of his friends because they can't go to their parents. And that's so heartbreaking for me. That is very heart wrenching, because even like I said, even if I don't agree with something, I have to listen to my kid, because my kid only has me or his dad, So it's just very heart wrenching when a child tells me that they can't talk to their parents. And I
And
understand it.
and a lot of
I
times it's
do.
fear, right? Because we don't know what to say, right? And
Right.
and so
Right.
and
They don't
so
know how to approach it.
they don't know. So that's why these workshops are there for you guys to say, okay, if I'm going to be a tour guide, I better know the road ahead. So that it's not somebody else teaching your kid, or it's not somebody else, because what we saw during the pandemic, with social media, is that kids were parenting each other. And that's a recipe for disaster, because kids are kids. They don't have what it takes. They think they do, because they feel like that's in their brain development. They think like, I know everything and my parents doesn't know anything. But still they don't know. so
Mm-hmm.
so that's why it's so important for us to be for our kids to still look up to us and say, you know what, I have a problem, and I have someone that I can talk to, and that's mom. Or if it's not mom, have that backup person that still will have sort of the same message that mom is going to give, the same sort of values, like you were saying, within what community services, having that extra person that they could talk to. But that all requires planning, right? To be able to have those things. And if we don't know, then we don't plan ahead, and then the kids end up a little lost. So yeah, definitely we'll put that in. Setting up parents for financial for colleges for kids, Allison. Great. So yes, we can do a workshop on as well on more on scholarships. We can do that. And because that's something that our school helps a lot with the financial aid and everything, with FAFSA, but maybe having more on the other end, which has to do with scholarships, that could be something that everybody could benefit from. So yeah, so keep pouring information of what you think of. We will keep on adding it to the list, and know that the chat is also recorded. And what happens next is that we will organize based on the needs of everybody. And then we'll look for partners that could teach those classes, and then we'll decide how much they charge for those workshops, or if we can get them for free, that would be great. But based on that, and then you guys decide, do we want to do this type of workshops in person? Do we want to do them in Zoom? When can it be done? During the morning? Can it be done in the evening? We do have set aside the family council set aside like a kind of a schedule, which was Mondays to be mental health Mondays, Tuesdays to be literacy, Wednesdays is always the news bulletin for any information and special guests that we can also bring. Thursdays was for parenting, and Fridays was leadership labs. So, but that was something that was set up, but it can change, because this is all to accommodate what parents see that it fits best, and that's what we do we do another survey. And that's why it's so important for us for you to sign up to be part of the Title I committee. And again, just want to let you know that I'm gonna share the screen in the meantime. That right now we're doing an initiative with the Family Council, which is the reading initiative, which is everybody reading at least 15 minutes. Best would be an hour, and then to submit the reading totals every week. And again, reading can be for those who are struggling with reading. It could also be listening to a podcast on something that the kids like, or it could be an audiobook on Audible, or sometimes you can find those books on YouTube, because sometimes it takes time for the kids, but as long as they have that routine of every day listening or reading, that really helps them along the way. We want them to be thinkers, independent thinkers, and definitely reading. We want it to be at a level of understanding, comprehension, because college, it's complex texts, and we want them to be ready for those complex texts. And so it's so important for them to be reading. So that's the initiative right now from the Family Councils, for everybody reading. And for you to let us know how we're doing reading by tracking their reading levels, the reading minutes. So like, for example, if it was, it would include your email, your full name, the student name, the grade, and then how many minutes have they been reading for the week, as a way like to keep everybody accountable. It's almost like Weight Watchers, but for reading, where you keep everything, like how many minutes have we been reading, just to build in that muscle, the mind muscle. And again, that could be, it's part of this initiative. Definitely will be part of the Title I, just because it's so aligned with getting the kids doing better academically. But aside from that, we definitely will be using the funds on, just having them, those workshops that you guys have mentioned. And so we will put them all in a nice way. And then, there will be a voting. You guys will vote on what those workshops will be. And also there will be a vote on the times to have those workshops. And of course, we'll try to accommodate as many people as possible, because again, this is for you. So I want to make sure that everybody is equipped and that those workshops are really beneficial for the whole community. So the let's see, in terms of to join the Title I committee, we ask to please, and I can put this on the chat, to please fill out this form, because again, you will be determining what those workshops will be. And we had about 100 families from in Spanish speakers. Right now, we have not sure.
30 or so,
30.
about 24 people, but some
24.
people have them coming in and out.
24 families. So it will be you guys deciding for, you'll be deciding for 900 families, you know what I mean? So it's all who participates. But we encourage everybody. We'll have another meeting where we encourage everybody to participate. But again, it's whoever wants to be part of this, it will benefit the most. So if you know of anybody who's a parent at our school, please encourage them to watch this video and to send us their ideas. And if for some reason you think later, oh, you know what, I should have said this, or I will benefit from this, then by all means send that to us, 646-906-4111. And it's our phone number for FACE. And you can tell us, I'm thinking about this, and I really will benefit from this type of workshop. And again, We have done workshops in the past and they have been very helpful, and that's why we are promoting it a lot. But again, if you want something else aside from workshops, if you want trips that has to align with the academic development of the kids, or if you want to have like I said, authors who come in and talk to the kids, or if you want a Zumba, for example, which we did in the past, it has to be part of a whole thing that is going to align with the well-being of the student. So it cannot just be because you want Zumba, it has to be aligned, that activity, with something that really will improve your child's well-being. So and again, if we do have that, then consider that it's not just the activity that is at the school, but it's also Metro cards for coming to the school. It's also refreshments. It's also childcare. It's also the security guard and the person who closes the school who's going to be there. So it's the payment for all those things that will go into how much money will go into these workshops. And as of now, I can tell you that Circle of Security costs $800. But you know, there are other workshops that we can partner up, and I'll let you know how much they cost. And there is some that we can find for free.
Yeah.
So just know that we will be looking into what's the best out there. I do know that authors do charge money, but they're worth the investment, again, for kids to be excited about reading. Yeah, so do
Are you going to invite I recall you guys had the CUNY in the Heights, that there
CUNY in
was
the Heights,
a
yes.
woman, that came in and spoke to
Yes.
opportunities for parents as well as students once they're graduating and things of that nature, and offers that were available to people who live in the community. Are you going to have that again? And is that something that's like
Yes.
expensive, or something they do for free?
Yes,
That they just give you the
actually,
information?
great. So yes, actually they're offering it for free. And September 28th is our back to school night where you meet the teachers, and we have invited them to come have a table.
Oh, okay.
So you will be
Okay,
able to talk to them, and not just they offer ESL and also continuing education classes for free to parents. So definitely, we like CUNY in the Heights and anything aligned because they are. You will get a certificate. You actually, your credit, you will get credits if you wanted to go to take if, like, say for example, if I learn in English, the classes have a curriculum that is set up that is aligned with whatever is required for college, and they're taught by teachers who are certified. So it's so much better than if I were to get organization who is selling English as a second language classes to parents that we will pay out of Title One, but you don't know if how much you did learn or not learn, or maybe it cannot, you know, it doesn't, you may not pass the test for the TOEFL, for example, for college. So those are things that that's why I always like to have certified teachers to teach. If it is something that you would like to have English as a second language, then you can use that for, or if it is a class like
A computer class, they do the Microsoft
compu-
certification.
yes, or even an assistant, a medical assistant, things like that, they offer for free. Now it will improve your standing financially, doesn't really help your child academically, so that wouldn't go under Title One. The only one that may help with Title One would be if it was English as a second language, just because of it really will help, you know, if you feel totally lost. But definitely those classes right now, they're offering it for free. So we will have a table with Inwood Community Services, as well as that there will be for the high school, there will be tables for other things that are for kids that in terms of mentoring, in terms of programs that will help them develop as leaders. And just a reminder that we have events coming up. We have to build that identity. We were talking about, how do I pass on my identity? How do I pass on our values? Well, one of the ways is through storytelling, and one of those ways is through food. And that's why we do our roots and recipe contest, where parents and kids work together doing a dish, and then they present it, and they're judges, and that will be October 5th. So that's one thing that you can sign up for. And the other one is the wellness walk. We're doing a wellness walk, and starting at a high school, we still iron out the location. But we already have partnership with Columbia University School of Public Health, New York Presbyterian Hospital, and they will have tables about anything from cancer, all types of cancer, to Alzheimer's, heart health, dentist, all sorts of things for the kids to just, it's a resource fair for the community, but the kids will be then empowered to say, what did you do for your community? Well, we did a wellness walk, and, connecting to those organizations can help later maybe start partnerships for like mentoring with those. Not mentoring, internships with this organization. So we do want to get the kids to build that leadership portfolio, and those are the events that we can do. So stay tuned. October 5th is our Roots and Recipe Contest, and October 19th is our Wellness Walk, and we will send more information about that.
Thank you guys for joining us.
So this meeting has been recorded. So again, if I see Scarlett, you had some trouble with hearing, we will, it is recorded. It will be available on our YouTube channel. And just as a reminder, we will have coming up a parent survey. It's similar to the DOE survey that we usually do at the end of the year. But it's very important for us to make sure that we're on track. And it will start September 21st. So I'll tell you more about that. If you're here your child has a high school student, we have a college and career success workshop. It's mostly for anyone before 11th grade until 11th grade. So Linda, you already know all this stuff. And it's on Zoom. And our back to school night again for high school is September 28th. And it's from 5 to 7 in person. Our back to school for middle school is tomorrow. And that's when you meet the teachers. So we will not have a news bulletin. But just know that we really appreciate you, and we'll keep in touch, and we'll be sending you more information as the time goes by. And have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for sharing, Linda. Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. Great job. Thank you.